Hi, my name's Neil and welcome to today's episode of Retro for You. On today's episode we're going to be looking at this again, the Amiga 500++ board that I built. Now it's a big thanks again to PCBWay for sponsoring this. What I did promise last week was we'd finally get this tested that I made last week, which is the A501 memory expansion, which is basically a 1 meg chip expansion for this Amiga board, but I couldn't test it last week because I didn't finish this board. So this week we're going to get this board finished, we're going to get it installed in a case, we're going to get a keyboard in, and we're going to give it a good test with this memory expansion as well. So on that note, let's crack on and get this fitted. This is why I use PCBWay, the top quality boards delivered fast and done right. When it comes to turning a retro dream into reality, it all starts with a solid PCB, and that is where PCBWay comes in. You can start by browsing a huge range of shared community projects ready to go. Just add one to your basket, wait for the checks to go through, and then click order now. So once you've got your project that you want to build in your basket, then you're presented with a lot of options. The most important one being solder mask and what colour you want your boards. After that, you can also select whether you'd like an SMD stencil and, more importantly, assembly service. So if you're soldering it up to scratch, you can get PCBWay to make the board for you and send it you complete. How great is that? What you need to do now is wait a few days and promptly your parcel will arrive. And also what's great is you always get a minimum order of 5 boards, so if things do go wrong like they generally do with me, I've still got another 4 chances of getting it right. So from projects small to big, PCBWay is the place to go. Did I also mention PCBWay not only does boards, it also does CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, injection molding. It's an absolutely amazing place. So don't forget to check out my link below and all new customers will receive a $5 bonus. Thank you very much, PCBWay. So the plan is today is to get this into a case, get this header fitted as well, which needs doing first, so we can install this memory expansion we made last week. We also then want to boot it to the diagram which is installed and just check it does actually pick this memory up and it's working correctly. After that, we're going to pull the CPU, we're going to install a 6030 with an IDE into this, which should be absolutely excellent. And then also we'll plug in a ROM to get it to boot to the IDE, and we'll give it all a jolly good test and play its first game on this machine. So wish me luck guys, and without further ado, let's crack on. So the first thing we're going to do is just get this header installed. So now we've got that held in place, all we're going to do now is to turn it over and get the rest soldered. Like I said last week, I'm going to finish this Amiga 500++ build off, so what I do need is a decent keyboard. Now, this is one of the cleanest keyboards I found. Now, although it's very grubby, I'm going to strip it all down and I'm going to restore it all, hopefully to its former glory. So there's about 40 years worth of muck under there, which I do need to clean up. I'll also strip the membrane down and give that a good service and clean as well. Hopefully it should all be good. This is the case I'm going to be using Now, I know it's not an Amiga 500++, it's an original Amiga case, and I also need to source the LEDs, which I think are on the keyboard actually. Yes, they are, so don't worry about that. Forget about sourcing the LEDs, they're on the keyboard. It's another day. I've got the Amiga board in the case. I finished the keyboard over the last few days. You can see it's looking a hell of a lot better. Before it was really yellow. It's been out in the sun, retro brighting. So we're about to connect that up. As I said before, what we're going to do first is test this memory expansion we built last week, because we managed to get the socket in now. So we're just going to push that in place like so. And you can tell it all matches. Thank you, PCBWay. And we've got this lovely keyboard now, which we can now place like so. So I'm just going to hook that up, and we're going to see if we've got 2 meg of chip RAM. We're just going to turn this on. We've got OSCC connected up, and we'll just see what we get. Now we've got the diag ROM in, like I said, because I just want to see we definitely got the 2 meg detected. Ah, it has loaded. That's just because it's got extra memory. Yes, and I can actually see that there. Let me just put it to full screen. So as you can see there now, we now have 2048 kilobyte of chip RAM. What the plan next is to install the accelerator with the IDE card as well. So let's crack on with that. So the first thing we need to do is just pull this CPU here. Out it comes, nice and easy. Now we have to install a relocator. So we have here the Terrible Fire 536. Now I have one of these fitted in my Myco ITX Amiga, and I find these absolutely brilliant, bang for buck. I mean, you've got the 6030, which is great because it's a proper Motorola CPU. We've also got the added extra memory. I think that's 64 meg on it. Hopefully I'm right on that. But it also has ID, which is absolutely, again, brilliant. Now to fit on here, it needs a relocator, which will sit there, and we'll relocate the board up that way, out of the way of everything. So let's just quickly get that. So it's designed so the capacitor goes through the hole. That is pretty cool. I'm just checking that's all in line, which I think it is. That is in now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to boot it and see if it actually comes on. Okay, so you can see there now it's listed as a 6030, 2 megabyte of chip RAM and 64 meg of fast RAM. That is actually awesome for an Amiga 500+. And also don't forget it has the IDE as well, which makes it even better. So all I'm going to do now is to get the Kickstart ROM, get that plugged in, we'll get it roughly together, and then we'll see if we can load a game on this thing and do some gaming. I just wanted to show you what it actually looks like with the case on, and I'm really happy with this. It looks so nice and the keyboard's cleaned up well. Unfortunately, we still have a problem. So just stick around and I'll show you what the problem is. This is where I am at. It is now quite late at night, and I'm going to have to call this video now because unfortunately I can't get it to boot with a Kickstart ROM. Now it boots to the diag. I know this Terrible Fire is working. It picks up in diag ROM, and I actually pulled the ROM from the mini ITX Amiga to try that in this as well, and that still didn't work as well. Now whichever ROM I programmed, the 27C800s, this is what happens. I'll turn it on and I'll show you. It's like it's going to work. It flashes like it does in the mini ITX, but then I just get a yellow screen, which generally means a bad ROM. I don't know why it's doing this. I've tried everything. I've tried flashing different ROMs, but the diag ROM works fine. So if anybody knows why this is doing this, am I missing a jump or something on this Ramix board? I'm not quite sure. If you're new here, then please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to everybody hit the like button, please. And don't forget to let me know down below what's wrong with this, please, because I can't work out what it is. Whether it's a bag ROM, I don't know, but the ROM works in the Mini ITX, so why? I don't know. Don't forget to check out my YouTube buddies down below. We've got like I Captain Commodore, 8-Bit Retro Refix, and Joseph. And a big thank you again to PCBWay. And I shall see you next time on Retro for You.